This program was brought to you by Koller Institute of Venture at Tel Aviv University.
So our team included Professor Yael Hanin, that you heard this morning from Tel Aviv University, Dr. Ari Ginsberg from NYU, Tal DeLange with design studio from the same name, and myself. I'm the CEO of Yissum, the technology transfer company of the Hebrew University. I'm not sure I will use the entire 7 minutes. I'll try to do it shorter. So the first topic that we discussed, we tried to raise a few issues, some of them tackling things that my dear colleague from the Technion, Benny Sofer, raised in his lecture. The first question that we asked ourselves was, should university create jobs? There was a consensus that the answer is obviously yes. Should we create startups in Israel? Should we prefer local over taking technology abroad from China or US? So the answer for this is a little bit more complicated, because the Zionist answer is yes, but there are areas in which you know that a startup in the Silicon Valley or in other places in the world will probably raise more money and be more successful and create a product much faster. So should we go to an incubator in Israel that the money will end in 2 years, or should we go for real funding in the Silicon Valley? So on this, we agreed that if there are circumstances in which it is clear that the startup will be more successful abroad, so probably the answer is that with all our Zionistic aspirations, we should prefer the second. Should universities focus on increasing their revenues? This is an interesting question. We think we can combine and to maintain nice revenues, but also creating jobs. But in general, our conclusion was that universities should think about creative ways to create revenues, and not necessarily the tech transfer company is the only source for universities to make money. What is the role of a technology transfer company? Just licensing? Our answer was that technology transfer has to make sure that he puts the project and the technology in the right hands. It can be a straightforward licensing to a big company, or it can be a creation of a startup with the right entrepreneur, and taking it to the right group of entrepreneurs and management that will take it forward. The topic that we decided to focus on was the question, will a first-tier entrepreneur or industrial partner take a project from academia? So this is a debate that exists in many areas. There are a lot of claims that companies in Israel do not like to work with academia. And we try to think about, there was an argument in our forum that the first-tier entrepreneurs in Israel will not come to shop for technologies in the academia. And we thought, without debating whether it's true or not, I personally think that this is not necessarily the case, but we thought about practical ways to address it and to solve it. And what we want to mention 2 issues that I think will be a consensus. First of all, it's clear that this is a joint expectation of the taxpayer in Israel that the universities will maximize the potential of the projects that exist in the university. Second, it's also a general consensus that in the biotech, it works pretty nicely, and we should adapt biotech models into the high-tech community. Now, one of the action items that we propose, and we think that it's doable, to set agreed norms of consideration. For example, Benny mentioned before that it's very hard to get royalties in medical devices. Is this the case? Not necessarily. And without getting into the details, but at least one of the companies that Benny showed on the screen, we are not sure that if they will have a royalty burden of paying 1% royalties to a university in Israel, the business model will not work. The gross profit in medical device still allows for 1% royalties. 5% royalties, probably too high, but 1% is reasonable. The same for equity. So we think that if there will be an open and effective discussion between industry and academia, we can set a norm of reasonable consideration in different areas. Second, standardize the agreements between academia and industry. And at least we in Yissum, we intend in the near future to put all our templates on the website, so things will be clear. The industrial or entrepreneur will see the basic rules of a consultancy agreement, service agreement, research agreement. We have nothing to hide. We are a public organization. Everything will be transparent, and the potential entrepreneurs will see that the animal is not so terrible, and it is reasonable to work with academia. Another point that bothers a lot of people in the industry is that there's a perception that it's hard to get consultancy from researchers in the academia. It creates a lot of tension between the tech transfer companies, the rector of the university, the president of the university, and the researchers. We think that consultancy is a very good gateway for the industry to get into the academia, and the connection and relationship between a researcher from the university with the industry through consultancy, it's a good thing. However, and this is the next point, and the last one, is that after saying this, that the concept is good and we are in favor of it, it has to be formed in a structure that the researcher on their behalf will obey to the rules, meaning that it's limited to 1 day a week, there are certain limitations, it should be done in a certain way that keeps the IP, but the tech transfer company and the university have to allow it and to make sure that the researchers make very nice profits and benefit nicely from their consultancy, because they are not obligated to do it. So if we will formalize it, make sure that the researchers really come forward and disclose all the arrangement and the contractual arrangement that they have, and the tech transfer and the university will collaborate with them in a positive way, we think it will be a very good solution for both, and the industry in Israel will benefit in general. So this is the outcome of our discussion. I would like to thank my team members. Thank you.
This program was brought to you by Koller Institute of Venture at Tel Aviv University.